All right, man. There was a college football game on, and we didn't watch it.
No.
We didn't watch it for reasons of obviously the Avalanche run. You didn't watch it because that's kind of like your nemesis. Uh, was there any moment during this game, the Avalanche and the Kraken, where you were like, maybe I probably should have watched that game?
Never. I will never watch Georgia and Alabama a day in my life.
How boring can college football be? It's the same game every year. Something needs to happen over there. It's terrible. I love it until it's like the final, and then I'm done with college football because it's so anticlimactic. I heard it was a good game, though. We had a good game where we were at, though, watching the Avalanche and the Kraken, and that's what we're going to discuss. So, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciate it. I am your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan, the Avalanche. Not the way we thought they would draw it up, but in the end, they get the 2 points, and they didn't have to go to overtime to get it. And 4-3 was the final. Philipp Grubauer back in Denver, as is Jonas Donskoy. We'll talk about it. Not the way that we thought it would go, but in the end, it's one in the win column, and it's 2 points in the point column. So that's really all that matters. So before we get to that, I just want to throw out the social media where you can find us, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow the show over on our YouTube channel. Here we are on YouTube. Subscribe and get notified when shows go live. All right. Needed the third period to have another comeback effort, and they do pull it out. So overall thoughts, we'll start there and then kind of break things down.
It was weird going into the game. I think it was right before we got the news about Landeskog, and you could kind of see that him not being there was very noticeable. That heart and soul was gone. And it's a problem with the Avs. When a player goes down, it takes forever for them to get their synergy. And it was evident until about the third period when things started clicking, and it was great to see Grubauer versus Francouz.
Well, so there's two things that I want to get to. We'll start with the Grubauer thing. He who knows why he didn't want to go up against them in the first game. And like I said before, we like to say he was just scared. I don't imagine that was the case. But why is there such love between Avalanche fans and Philipp Grubauer? I don't get it. I feel like it's a little bit misplaced. He wasn't here for that long. And he had, in all intents and purposes, one good season, which we were hanging our hat on and wanting to bring him back. I wanted him to come back too. I'm not trying to now that he's not part of the Avalanche, say all these negative things about him, but he's not a part of the Avalanche, and he chose not to be part of the Avalanche.
Yeah.
With Jonas Donskoy, it's different. It really wasn't up to him. That was a expansion draft. I would have loved to have him back too. I love that team from last year. I want as many guys from that team as possible back. Grubauer is old news to me because he took the money, and fine. If you want to go do that. But I don't understand where this love comes from for Philipp Grubauer when it's not like he's this all-time Av. And he, like I said, his tenure here was pretty short. And in the end, he shunned you. So you're the enemy now. I mean, I got I have respect for him as a hockey player, but I'm not rooting for you from afar now because you used to be an Avalanche. That's not where I am with Grubauer.
I think a lot of the love comes from, it was almost like a Francouz Grubauer situation. Like Grubauer was backing up Semyon Varlamov and then eventually took that job from him. And it's one of those that he took over the job at the right time. The Avalanche started ascending during that time, and everybody just kind of felt like that love and passion you had for Grubauer, you kind of lived it out through him. Like you made the right choice between Varlamov and Grubauer, and you felt justified in your fandom there. And when everything was rolling in the way that it should go, he turned his back on us and thought the new Seattle Kraken would be the greatest place to go for his career, and it has it. And I think those same fans are also feeling sympathetic in a way. Like you heard it in the first period, there were Gru chants. And I was like, guys, wrong team.
I know. I don't like. Why aren't we like that when Alex Kerfoot scored? When on Toronto the other day,
we didn't let
like
Ryan O'Reilly take the cup around Ball Arena when he won. So
I don't get it. It's like it's not. No, it's not. Once an Av, always an Av. It's it's not that way. I would have rooted more for Donskoy than Grubauer.
Yeah.
And you don't hear any love for Jonas Donskoy. I don't get it. I just feel it's misplaced. And they had high hopes for him when they brought him in. Like he was your goalie for the future.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, he, like you said, he turned his back on the Avs. We will, a little bit foreshadowing here, we will talk about maybe why he did that and other players on Wednesday's show. So you're gonna have to wait a couple of days for that. That's going to be fun. But the other thing was Burakovsky, and they moved him up to the top line. I think that was when I read the lines, I was like, okay, I think that's a pretty good move. Like you're going up against a team that you really should mop the floor with. So he's struggling. So bring him up to that top line against them. If this was Toronto, I don't know if that would have happened. I feel like they brought him up to the top line against a team like Seattle. Get your confidence up a little bit. Maybe you can do some things against them that, will just make you feel good and make you say like, all right, I'm getting kind of back in the flow of things. And it didn't happen. Did not happen.
And you know what it felt like to me, and this is just how my brain works. So, I mean, ride with me here. When I saw him get called up to that top line, I mean, what's the one thing we talk about with Berkey? He's good for a game, a month.
Streaky, right.
I feel like this was Bednar kicking the tires on, okay, prove yourself.
Like trying to catch lightning in a bottle, like trying to catch that one game, picking when that one game is going to be.
If you can't force him into that one game, the deadline is coming up.
You know what, man? Like we really got to watch that.
Yeah,
really, because he didn't play well again. He had a horrific blind pass in the defensive zone, and it's tough. You don't want to throw blind. If you're going to throw a blind pass, do it up against the boards. He threw it directly in front of the net.
Yeah,
and it wasn't like he was behind it. He was he was against the boards. And he just threw one of those backwards passes that went right into the slot. It didn't turn out to be anything for Seattle, but holy crap, you were like, why would you do that? That is high school amateur hour right there.
And last year, it's not like we're going after Berkey because of him not being able to score. Like we defended Belmar all year last year. He wasn't a scoring threat at all, but he was a leader and he was a facilitator. Berkey is making mistakes now. Like it's fine if you're quiet, but once you're noticeable for what you're doing wrong, then there's a problem. And that's what we're starting to see. Granted, we're not too far removed from the hat trick game, but tell me about something else.
Yeah, and if you want to point to the stats, I mean, he had 2 assists on the day. Okay, like fine, but I'm looking deeper than that. I'm not just looking at a score sheet and saying, and that tells the whole story. It really doesn't. And let's see, I want to find that he had an assist on the last one, which was the second assist. And where's the other? The Abe Coobel goal. He had an assist on that. So a very up and down game for him. I would say more down than up. The up would be the 2 assists. Sure, you got 2 assists, great. But you made some really questionable decisions on the defensive end, in my opinion, for him. But where are we? All right, let's get a break in with Primal Origin Oils and then continue the discussion. So you got beard, get Primal. And you heard that right. If you got beard, you get Primal. If you or someone that you care about has a beard, it needs to get Primal. Maybe you're that guy who has never considered the benefits of treating your beard with a product, but Primal Origin Oils will stop the itch and make your beard look healthy and groomed. The products are free from harmful synthetic ingredients and with a low impact on our planet. Primal Origin Oils makes balms, oils, and whipped butters that are renowned as the best feel in the beard products available. All products are fair trade certified and handcrafted in the USA, and the combo kits make a great gift at any point throughout the year. So go to primaloriginoils.com. Use the promo code locked on and you get 20% off of your order. Once again, the promo code is locked on at primaloriginoils.com. All right. So what else we got? Just the overall feel of the game was just very like you don't want to say this was like a trap game for the Avalanche. And I don't think like I'm listening to kind of like the Altitude crew as they're talking about them and on intermissions and stuff like that, and saying how that they're not playing that well. I didn't think the Avalanche played that poorly. But they didn't play great by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not trying to make it sound like they played well, but it was not like this horrid game that they were playing. They were getting looks that you could tell. Anybody that people that don't even watch hockey could watch the first couple periods of this and know that the Avalanche were the better team. They're the more skilled team. They had really good looks. They just couldn't put the puck home. And that's why you kind of felt good that they were never out of the well, first of all, you feel like they're never out of this game for what they've proven the past few games. But against a team like Seattle, you could see them generating really good looks. And you're just like, they just have to get a few of these through. We know what we're getting in Grubauer. He's going to give you some juicy rebounds.
Yep.
You just felt like they just had to stop Seattle from scoring, and then just hammer home some of those looks, and that's really what happened. And the Avalanche just kind of took the game by the throat.
Yeah, honestly, we're facing a back-to-back. We're playing Nashville tonight, but this is like the kind of performance you expect on the night 2 of a back-to-back. Just kind of that.
Yeah, I mean, it was like weird. It was like they were just like, I want to say like a little lethargic, but they were. And it wasn't even sloppy. I don't know. I don't know the term to describe it.
It's honestly, I think a lot of it's contributed to a lot of that emotion had to go in the overtime win against Toronto, and it's hard to get yourself back up and
Can't
like, okay, yeah, it's Seattle. Like we just scored a touchdown on them last time we played them. Like you're going through the motions, and I think the Avalanche were going through the motions in this game. It wasn't poor, it wasn't great. They were just going through the motions, and even at C+ levels for the Avalanche, it's good enough to beat teams like Seattle.
Right. I would say, I guess the term I would use maybe be like uneven.
Yeah,
because there were shifts that they looked really good, and then there were other shifts where Seattle looked really good, and Avalanche struggled again to get it out of the zone, and they struggled. Their penalty, their power play did not look that well, and Seattle has a poor penalty kill. But to watch this game, you would think Seattle's in the top 5 in penalty kills because they looked really good on the penalty kill. I don't know. I feel like the Kraken gave the Avs like a lot of space to do stuff, and the Avs were doing it, and it was almost like we're not used to this. The last handful of games that we played are again, save for Chicago, but Chicago gave you a good fight. And you're fighting for everything. And here's Seattle just letting you skate around, time and space all over the place. And it's like the Avs didn't know what to do with it, so they'd make the extra pass and make a fancy pass, and it would just not. Instead of just trying to fire one on net, get a rebound or something, like they were playing the game that they had played the past few games. But Seattle was not playing the style that the Avalanche had played in the past few games. So it took them like 2 periods to realize like we got to do this differently because this team has given us whatever we want, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they were skating everywhere.
They were giving us so much space that like Sam Girard was doing that La Tornade move about 5 or 6 times wherever he wanted to.
Yeah.
They didn't believe in what they could do against the Avalanche, and they were letting us make mistakes, and we were giving it to them a couple times. And then I think, honestly, like you touched on it, I think the special teams going forward, it has to be addressed. There has to be something done. I know we were talking before the game started that Bednar was talking about shifting the penalty kill. Well, we're at 50% on the night. So I don't know if you could say that's a win, but if you look, the Avs are 0-7 in the last 2 games with the power play. So something has to give there.
I don't know. And if they were sustaining possessions in the offensive zone when they're on the penalty, like, okay, and they do from time to time, but they just don't have that killer instinct on when they're on the power play, and the same when they're on the penalty kill, maybe even worse on the penalty kill. And Bednar had said there was going to be changes going into last night's game with in regards to the penalty kill, but it was, I mean, you only saw 2 of them. And once again, like the first one they gave up.
Mm-hmm.
Their first penalty that they gave it up. Who scored that? Was it? No, let me see.
Was that McCann?
No, the Kraken power play was scored by Johansson.
Oh, that's right.
So, yeah, I mean, it's a problem. It's a problem, and playoffs are, a little bit ways away, so you have time to correct this. You're not even halfway through the season yet, but right now that is the Achilles heel for the Avalanche. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
And it's
yeah, go ahead.
It's weird, like if we are able to come back from a goal deficit, 2-goal deficit, 3-goal deficit, and win games, why is it so hard for us to score on a man advantage? It just does not make sense.
Does not make sense. You're right. Absolutely right. I don't know, but the way that the Avs are playing, I was happy that they were down 2-1.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, again, I don't want to call this a trap game, but they needed something to wake them up. Much like Jared Bednar made the goalie change to wake the team up against the Maple Leafs. Maybe going down 2-1 and then 3-1 against the Seattle Kraken. If that's, you don't even need to make a move if you're Bednar. The scoreboard should be enough to really make you want to, up your game. And I feel like I said, although I felt like they were playing relatively well for the most part, they really kicked it into high gear in the third. And what was the final? So in the third, it was 14-8 in terms of shots on goal in favor of the Avalanche. I thought it was much more than that. It seemed like it was more than that. They
really did.
Yeah, they really were turning it on when they had to. And you had the Devon Toews goal, which, if they had overturned that, I don't know what I don't know what I would have done, but it would not have been. All I'm going to say is I don't remember who it was against. It was Vegas, clearly Vegas. And I remember who it was on. It was early in the season. This was like one of the first, maybe like 10 or 12 games of the season. And a player on Vegas did this exact same thing. I don't even want to say that. It was, in my opinion, they always say the distinct kicking motion. What the Vegas player did was a distinct kicking motion. They were saying he was trying to stop it with his puck, whatever. Carbon copy of what Devon Toews did. If they had overturned that, we would not be recording right now, because I would be on page 8 of my dissertation to the NHL front office.
Dear Mr. Front Office.
No, dear Mr. You know who, Commish. Because it was Vegas, I would have gone crazy. If Vegas had gotten away with that and not the Avalanche.
And when that goal was up for review, I was sitting there thinking, I was like, not this way. Let's, because that would be one of those that if it was overturned, I doubt the Avs could come back.
I mean, that's like we were saying against Toronto. You exert all this energy to pull even, and now you got to go to overtime. You got to do it again. Same thing with that. You get the game tying goal, and then if it was removed, you're like, all right, let's regroup and do this again. Sometimes you don't have it in you to do it again. So you're right.
Yeah, you could see Taser when he's doing his celly, like there's no real elation. He's just like, guys, let's just get this done and drop the puck.
Yeah, I always watch that. I always watch the questionable ones. What's their reaction? Because like you can read it on their body language, right? If they know. And he kind of, it wasn't like he didn't he celebrated, but if it was the distinct kick, he would have not even like hugged
Yeah.
any of his teammates. It would have been just, no, guys, let's this is getting reversed.
Yeah.
Deep down, but hopefully they see something that they keep it. But that was totally within his realm to redirect. It was not a kick.
Yep. Not a kick at all.
Not a kick. So, and then your boy came through, and we'll get to that right after we hear from betonline.ag. And BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. It's a new year and a new updated desktop and mobile website to sign up today and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit using the promo code Locked On. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports. It's where the game starts. That's betonline.ag. So, what do they tell a shooter in the NBA? Just keep shooting, shoot, and eventually you'll break through, and the floodgates open. Kind of something similar to Kadri. He just kept. How many shots on goal did he have?
Ooh, good question.
Six shots on goal, which was only second to who else? Nathan McKinnon, who had 7. But that's what he did. Like, I felt like Kadri was having a frustrating game.
Yeah.
Like, he couldn't get off the edge. He couldn't beat the defender off the edge. He was like the puck was getting poked away from him all the time. He just couldn't do what he wanted to do. He's frustrated. And then came some open ice for him, and he buries the game winner past Grubauer.
Yeah, you could see it. Like, he was getting, there was a couple times that he had 2 men on him and just making him uncomfortable. Like, he was taking, as you said, 6 shots, but he didn't take a comfortable looking shot all night until that last game winner. And you could see the frustration mounting the more the game went on for him. And you're like, okay, we're not getting anything out of Nathan McKinnon. We're not getting anything out of Berkey tonight. And it might not get anything out of Kadri. And then you're like, you're really starting to try and find somebody to step up. And when Kadri finally did and roofed that top shelf shot over Grubauer, you could see just like pure elation and relief.
He did, man.
And that Selly, like, you could feel it just vibrating through the television. Like, he was so excited because he finally put that one in, continuing. And it's starting to get a little publicity now, but the man is scoring 13 goals on the year. He's doing incredible.
Really is. We didn't even talk about really Abe Coobel. I was so rooting for him to get a hat trick. That would have been spectacular. He's been playing great.
Yeah.
He's been playing very good hockey. Even Bednar even said after the last game, thought that was far and away his best game that he's played since they got him off of waivers. But and he does all this in modest ice time.
Yeah.
He had 12 minutes of ice time.
I think he had 7 against the Leafs.
It wasn't a lot.
Yeah.
So he's taking the minutes that he's getting and making them count. And all that leads to is just more minutes down the road. So and you can tell, like, when he's out there, he is putting in effort. And that is all you want from those guys on those bottom 6 lines. And he's giving it to you hand over fist right now. He was a great addition so far.
It's reminding me of the beginning stages of the Valeri Nichushkin experiment when he first joined the Avs. Yeah. Like, out of nowhere, everybody kind of gave up on him, but his minutes, he's rewarding you for the minutes that he's getting. And then you see, I wouldn't be surprised if later on down the road he is just like maybe third, second line. Like, he's putting up that kind of effort.
Yep. And you mentioned Nichushkin. I'm going to give him a pass on this game. I mean, he got over 19 minutes of ice time, but I think he needed a game just to get back into the feel of things, because he wasn't his normal self, like kind of like breaking up passes on like a forecheck or anything like that. Like, I didn't see a ton from him tonight. I really didn't. Like, he was kind of quiet, but that's okay. Like, he's just got to get back into the thick of things. So, and like we said in the beginning, Gabe Landeskog did not play because he's tested positive. So it's not he was in the protocol, and we'll see what happens. Like, if he tests negative, he can test out. He tested positive. Jared Bednar did make a comment after the game saying, I'm trying to find it here quickly. Basically, like, he doesn't want the NHL to test asymptomatic players anymore at all. I get we don't want to spread it to everybody. But he talked about the NFL and how the NFL has relaxed testing, and he wants to see the NHL do the same. So I think this is a thing where, Gabe Landeskog has tested positive, and the only reason they caught it is just because they test so much in the NHL. It's not because he was feeling things and said, you might want to test me. It was just they're testing everybody all the time, and they caught him for it. And apparently he's asymptomatic, not feeling anything. Jared Bednar just went on the record and said, I want the NHL to change that. You think it's going to I don't really see it happening. I mean, maybe he's right. I don't know, but
I find it funny that these comments are coming out as we're getting ready to play Nashville, where everything went south.
True. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about it. So he's out. I mean, because he is positive, he's out pretty much all week. And 3 games out for.
And without Gabe Landeskog in this game, it'd be remiss to talk about this Kraken game and not talk about Mikko Rantanen and him breaking up that shot and his effort on the ice tonight. Incredible.
A lot of them. Eric Johnson had a nice diving save towards the end there. And, it was one of those games where the goalie was pulled. We haven't had one of those in a little while.
I know.
So it was, it was exciting. And at the same time, you're like, man, like, the Kraken are in this thing. And I know parity is what the NHL hangs their hat on, and it's a good thing. But it's not a good thing when you're an Av fan and you're going up against the Seattle Kraken. You're like, no, this should be what game 1 against these guys was.
Yeah.
But you give Seattle some credit here. Avs didn't play up to their standards by any stretch of the imagination, and Seattle played the best that they could possibly play. Seattle can't play better than that. They can't.
Yeah. And this is everyone has to remember, this is 38 games together for the Seattle Kraken. Like, they're still figuring this out as a team, as a unit, what lines work. These guys they don't have history together. Like, this team is new and trying to find its balance. And it's a lot different team than what we saw earlier in the season.
Yeah. And I think you saw the issues there. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can look good early in the game. On the road, it's against a good team. When you give up a 3-1 lead, that is demoralizing for an expansion team. It's demoralizing for any team. But like I said, when a team gets up 3-1, and that is the best that they have to offer, and the other team comes back on you, it's pretty much in the bag at that point. Because it's so tough to come out of it when you're on the road. If you were on home and the home crowd is cheering you on, maybe you get some extra endorphins going. But on the road, and surprisingly, did see a good amount of Kraken jerseys in that arena the other day, which
is weird.
I don't know how that happens. How does one who lives outside of Seattle in year 1 become a Kraken fan? Unless you live there, now you have moved to other places of the country. How does that happen? How do people in Denver become Kraken fans?
I don't understand.
Or any city across the country right now. I don't get it.
They're cool jerseys, but that's not enough to make me want to jump.
Very cool.
I came this close to getting a Brandon Tanev. So
did you really?
Oh yeah.
If I got one, it'd be one of those blank ones. I can't support any player on there right now. Like,
get
even a down score.
Get number 1 fan 32.
32. They retired 32, so I'm looking at 32. So dumb. Whatever. All right, so we're back at it tonight against
Yeah.
the Nashville Predators. Very big game. You're going to see Darcy Kemper back in action, so hopefully he puts up a good performance because you're going to need it. Because I really like UC Saros. I think he is a fantastic goalie, and as young as he is, it upsets me that the Avalanche are going to have to deal with him
Yeah.
for a long time. So, but another good goalie, and we've been having pretty good luck against good goalies over the past couple weeks. So, any last thoughts on what to expect tonight against Nashville?
It's one more revenge game. This is one more that you could purge off the record of a bad Avalanche game. If we can get revenge on this one, you have a really good feeling going forward.
Yeah, no. It's 12 in a row for the Avs at home, but this one is on the road in Nashville. And then who's after that?
I believe it's Winnipeg. No. Yes. No.
Winnipeg again?
No.
Who is it?
Arizona.
Oh, the back-to-back in Arizona.
On Friday.
The home and back-to-back. So you win this one. Rest of the week is looking pretty good, but who the heck knows? Because the Kraken was supposed to be a pushover. And yeah.
You got back-to-back Arizona, then Minnesota coming up. So
there you do. Exciting times for the Avs. All right. That's going to wrap it up. Kyle and I will be back tomorrow to discuss the Preds and Avs. So hopefully another 2 points in the win column for the Avalanche. But that's going to wrap it up for today, everybody. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Check out Locked On NHL for your second listen. Get caught up on everything going on around the league. For now, I am Chris Maselli. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom. Kyle Sullivan. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. We'll see you guys tomorrow.